It's Robert from On My Turntable. Hope you're having a great morning this morning. Back again after a couple of days with another video. And as always, a coffee kind of morning. This is Grand Funk. I'm going to talk about this band today. Great American rock band. Super popular in the 70s. Their hits, you can still hear them on classic rock radio. And I'll just go over the band itself and go show you some of the albums that I have. And it's a band that gets talked about a little bit on the BC, but not a lot. And I feel they should have some love. So that's what I'm doing. And I feel every band should have some love. And hopefully get talked about more on the BC. So again, a great popular band from the 70s, known for their packed arena shows, arena rock style band. Live performances are just electric. One of the few bands that outsold, actually the only band that's outsold the Beatles at Shea Stadium. Beatles took about a week or so. These guys took a day or two to sell out Shea Stadium. And yeah, they loud, raw, amazing dual vocalists in Don Brewer and Mark Farner. Just remarkable stuff. And from Flint, Michigan, started way back in 1969. Again, original members Don Brewer on drums and vocals, Mark Farner on guitars, keyboards, and vocals, and Mel Shocker on bass. Later on, they added a keyboardist in Craig Frost. He went on to play with Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. So there's quite a connection between Bob Seger and Grand Funk, and I'll explain that in a bit. It freed up Mark Farner, especially in the live shows, from the keyboard to allow Craig Frost to play the keyboards and let Mark Farner focus on guitars and vocals. And it also gave them a wider sound and a more upbeat, up-to-date sound, I guess it is. So Mark Farner, again, amazing guitarist, singer, songwriter, co-founded Grand Funk, was definitely a presence on stage. Front man, great vocals, had that higher pitched sound. Raw guitarist. I wouldn't say he was a great guitarist, but he was definitely he had talent for sure. Talent for sure. He was with Grand Funk till about 76 until they broke up. Then he started a solo career, released 2 or 3 albums on his own, and then after the third release of his solo albums, he became a born-again Christian in the late 80s. Had a successful career as a Christian artist, and there's some great artists out there in the Christian world, and I love a lot of their music. It's just remarkable stuff, and it covers all kinds of genres. It really does. It goes from I wouldn't call it doom metal, but heavy metal right down to the soulful tracks. Amazing stuff. So upon or after his Christian career, he formed a new band called Mark Farner's American Band, and then they play a bunch of Grand Funk tunes as well as his solo work. So he's still playing, he's still singing, but he's also got a pacemaker in him. So that's the disadvantage of getting old, is the illnesses happen, and so health-wise, I don't think he's in that great a shape. Don Brewer, drummer and lead vocalist for Grand Funk, and the only remaining member of the band. He's also played with Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band in their 2006-2007 tour. So again, a connection between Bob Seger. I think they're both from Flint, Michigan, if my memory is correct. Sorry. After when Grand Funk initially broke up in '76, Don Brewer and Craig Frost and Mel Shocker formed a new band called Flint. They only released one self-titled album in 1978. And then Brewer and Shocker combined to add another form of Grand Funk. They added Max Carl as a lead singer, who was also keyboardist and lead singer for 38 Special, the great southern rock band. Former Kiss guitarist Bruce Kulick joined the band, and keyboardist Tim Cashins. And they're still playing. They play about 40 shows a year, and all over North America. So it's kind of cool. Kind of cool. Melvin George Mel Shocker. He's been part of Grand Funk on and off since 1969. He's been playing bass since he's about 16 years old. And he's also an investor. So I think he's doing quite well for himself. And again, as I said, Craig Frost not only was with Grand Funk, but also Bob Seger and Silver Bullet Band. So just some of the albums that I have of these guys. Debut album, On Time. Great album. It's on the Capitol label. Released in 1969. Heartbreaker. Powerful, powerful song. Huge hit single off of that one. I'm missing the second album, the Red album. So if anyone has a second copy out there, let me know. I can find it on CD, but I would prefer to have it on vinyl. It's an amazing album, and I've listened to it quite a bit on Spotify, but I want it in my collection. Their third album, Closer to Home. Another great album. It's on the Capitol label again. Closer to Home, third album, also the third gold album in 1 year, released in 1970. I'm Your Captain, Closer to Home is the still a staple on classic rock radio. I Need to Get the fifth album, Pluribus Funk, released in 71. Missing that one as well. I do have Phoenix, the sixth album by the band. Love that cover. Phoenix, again, released in 1972. The first album not to be produced with longtime producer Terry Knight. Rock and Roll Soul is the big hit off of this one. And Craig Frost was a guest artist on this one. So it was the beginning of Craig Frost being added to the band. One of my favorites, and the one that got me into Grand Funk. This is not the original, but this was one of the first albums I ever bought when I was a kid as well. That and Deep Purple's Deep Purple's Machine Head. This is We're an American Band. Again, this is my introduction to Grand Funk. This is the symbol that they began. And what an amazing album this is. Still one of my all-time favorites in all of my collection. We're an American Band, seventh album by the group. Again, the first to have new band member Craig Frost to give them that wider sound, that keyboard sound, and a couple of tracks on here. He's just a powerful, powerful player. We're an American Band and Walk Like a Man, two huge singles off of this one. You can still hear them both on classic rock radio. Shining On, that was my next introduction, my next album after We're an American Band. And it's hard to find one with the actual 3D glasses in here because this is a 3D cover. And I've yet to... My original one way back when I was a kid again had them, but I think I took them out and was looking at the cover like any kid would. And I should have kept them in there. Eighth studio album, again, another one of my favorites, 1974 release. The Locomotion, huge cover track that these guys did. And also Shining On is one of my favorite tracks by the band. All the girls in the world beware. Is the ninth studio album by the band, released in '74, and the second album to released in that particular year of '74. Some Kind of Wonderful, another big single, and Bad Time again is another big single. And the cover itself, it has the band's headshots on the superimposed on the bodies of bodybuilders at the time, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Franco Columbu. So I'm not sure what bodies are Arnold's and Franco's, but that's the band's head superimposed on that cover. And finally, the only one I have left, and again I'm missing quite a bit, but the 11th album by the band. I just recently picked this one up on that collection that I purchased a while back with Randy, and this is good singing, good playing. They look like they're having a good time here, but there were tensions inside the band, and I don't even want to go into that in this video. That's a whole other video. But released in '76, the 11th studio album. The band actually had broken up at this point, but none other than Frank Zappa said he would love to produce these guys and produce the album. And because of that fact, they reunited, recorded, and hopefully to continue that success that Grand Funk had. Zappa actually plays lead guitar on a song called Out to Get You, and he also sang backup vocals on a song called Rubberneck. Unfortunately, the album didn't do as well as the others. It's still a great album. I really like that album, but it didn't release any singles, and the band still ended up breaking up. I think Zappa did a great job in the production of this one, but it will also be the last album to feature Craig Frost. I think Mel Shocker had left for a bit as well, and then all kinds of tensions broke, and there's histories of Mark Farner getting the shaft basically from the other two members, and that's a whole other story for sure. I didn't even bother going into that one because that's a long story on that one. But again, it's an enjoyable album. Glad to have it in my collection for sure. But check out Grand Funk. They're an institution, really. Great American band. And great example of 70s classic rock. And doesn't get any better than these guys. And one of my favorite bands. So anyway, thanks guys. Love you all. Talk to you again soon. And take care. Bye-bye.